Compete clauses in contracts are coming under a lot of scrutiny these days. Many businesses defend them.
But the Federal Trade Commission has proposed a rule to ban them. Tonight, WKYT investigative reporter Garrett Weimer explains how the experience of two women is raising questions about the practice here in Kentucky.
And non-competition agreements are common in certain industries, including ours. They're intended to keep ex-employees from working for a competitor in a certain area for a certain amount of time. But two Central Kentucky women are pushing back now against one of the state's largest substance use disorder recovery companies, asking, when it comes to those contracts, how far is too far?
July the 8th of 2017 was the last time that I had a drink or a drug.
In ink on her arm is a date that means a lot to Leanna Murphy.
It's a nice reminder to say, hey, you know, you've gotten through all these things in life. You can get through this too without using.
It's how she and her friend Samantha Carroll are able to use their stories.
I know that God put me on this earth to serve other people
as they try to reach others in addiction.
Whenever I'm helping somebody, they know that it's genuine. It is coming from a place of, I've been there. Let me help you up. Let's do this together.
Murphy and Carroll went through treatment at Addiction Recovery Care. Then they both worked for ARC for several years. First, they say, as peer support specialists and eventually community liaisons. Murphy left in October 2021 and Carroll a year later to work at another, much smaller recovery center.
There were no hard feelings. There were actual tears, and they were happy for me because I was growing. I was getting out of, you know, ARC and moving on to other things. So it was very shocking to me when I received the letter.
It came via certified mail.
And then I opened it, and immediately it went from joy to, oh my goodness, like just gut-wrenching.
Cease and desist. The letter, dated January 27th, is signed by ARC's deputy legal counsel. It threatens legal action and warns their liability and exposure could be considerable for violating the non-competition, non-solicitation, and confidentiality agreement signed when ARC first hired them.
If I would have known that this would happen to me almost 5 years later, 100%, you know, never would I have signed it. If I knew that they could threaten me and try to ruin my life 5 years later, no, sir, I would not.
ARC declined our request for an interview for this story, but its chief legal officer did provide us with a statement. It reads in full, ARC, like many healthcare companies across the country, utilizes voluntary employment contract clauses to protect proprietary business information in conformance with applicable law. ARC does not comment on personnel matters pertaining to current or former employees. WKYT Investigates has reviewed the terms of the document itself. It prohibits employees for up to 2 years after leaving from working for or running another, quote, new competitive business in the restricted area. That means a place providing opiate addiction treatment programs and services that was incorporated or started between the last year before ARC hired them and 2 years after they leave. The restricted area, 60 air miles from any ARC treatment center in existence or any location they know ARC plans to expand to within 12 months after the employee leaves. ARC now has more than 30 facilities, 1,400 plus beds across nearly 24 Kentucky counties. A 60 air mile radius around each existing or planned facility covers an overwhelming majority of the Commonwealth and reaches into 6 of Kentucky's 7 neighbors, beyond Evansville, Indiana, Johnson City, Tennessee, Charleston, West Virginia, or even Dayton, Ohio.
They have monopolized the entire state of Kentucky.
There's a lot Murphy and Carroll don't like about the situation.
We felt pressured and manipulated into signing it.
We were being asked to quit our job that we support our families with, and that's very scary when we're in a very scary time.
And there's no competition. You know, where we're working now it's a very small, intimate, you know, 60 bed facility.
But the bottom line, they say,
we feel like, when did recovery as a whole become a competition?
Yeah.
You know, when did it say you have to choose between helping people, or if you're not helping people under this non-compete or for this company, you can't help people? How is that fair to the people that we helped, the people that we could help in the future, and this field as a whole?
The cease and desist letters the two received gave them 7 days to, quote, confirm compliance. Murphy and Carroll decided, though, not to quit their jobs. So far, they say ARC has not taken any further legal action against them for violating the cease and desist.
Garrett, thank you. In addition to its proposed rule, which would ban non-competes, the Federal Trade Commission has ordered 4 companies and 2 individuals so far this year to drop their non-competes. They ruled those companies' restrictions were unfair methods of competition in violation of federal law. The public comment period on the FTC's proposed rule change has been extended through April 19th.